Thank you all for tuning in with Brandy J. Singleton, The World We Live In. Today's episode is called Like the Rainbow. Today we're talking about individuals that just aren't white or black. I mean, that's just not realistic. There's a lot of people that have many beautiful races and colors that are a part of them. Culture. You know what I mean? And we need to start valuing that and allowing people to believe that that's a beautiful thing. Because as screwed up as it is, people have a tendency to let others label them and define who they are. And that just has to stop. We have to start loving ourselves for who we are. But also as human beings and humanity, we have to start respecting that. And if you want respect, then you must return it. And you must consider others too, which we are not doing. This world is so selfish. Let's take a look at this and let's start bringing the beauty back into allowing ourselves and others to feel good about who they are as they should be. And if you're a part of tearing that down and ripping that away from people, let's take a look at that too. Thank you for joining me. And this is Brandy J. Singleton, World We Live In. And you are very much appreciated. And thank you for taking the time out to allow me to be in your homes or your car or wherever you may be tuning in. Let's go. Now, I know it must be evident to the world that we live in that everybody is different. Some will say we are the same. Yes and no. To what's really important that we don't seem to focus in on, yes. But this is the problem. We are making it seem as if being different is not okay. First of all, who judges to say what is different? Different from what? Different of what? And who's to say that whatever different is less than normal or less of value? Who is to say? Who sat in that chair and decided? So let me just start by saying to any and everyone, you are of value. And don't ever let another human being tell you different. I promise you they've lied to you. If they've made you feel or have told you that you are different, that you don't matter, that you are less than, they did not create you. So therefore, you must understand that. You must know that. And I truly believe it begins in the home and how we are raised, that we must take that into heed and let our children know that they are special and they are valued and they are just as much important as the next person. And that there's no one on this planet that can make that different. It all depends on what we choose to believe. If you were raised in a home of hate, then that's what you're going to know. And that's what you're going to perceive. And that's what you're going to give and send out into the world. So we must know how very important it is when we raise our children, what we are teaching them and what values we're installing in them. If you're a hateful person, what are the odds of your child becoming a hateful person? So when we take a look into this racism, and if you do your history of where it first stemmed from, we must know that all of us weren't here during those times. But generations have passed it along. So where does it stop? It has to stop with the current generation, or it will continue. So people now what we're living out and what we are seeing and what we've always have been seeing as what one has been taught to do or to believe. You don't just wake up and say, I'm racist. Oh, I hate. You've been taught it. Right? Now, as time goes on, some people are shown something different, that maybe their life was a lie. Or some people just downright can't accept that. They don't understand. They don't want to believe that things that they were told and how they were raised aren't the truth. That's hard for a lot of people to take in, to find out that, wow, this isn't really what and how it is. So it makes you look at, why would one teach such hate to their children? And that's what they call it, the cycle continuing. You repeat. History doesn't just repeat itself on its own. The people in the world carry these messages. So that's why I sit back and I say that we all, a lot of us, give life to the hatred that keeps going. And you might not even think you do. But when you spew a racist term or an ugly, disrespectful term, and you feed into that ugliness, you are part of the problem. It doesn't give anyone a key, a passcode, a key to do such things just because of what you've been through. Well, they did this to us. Well, then where does it stop? It doesn't give anyone the right to spew ugly things at others or races or a group of individuals because of their color, of their skin, because of the way you feel, or you feel like you've been done wrong. Wrong is wrong. And we treat others out how we would want them to treat us. So we must always carry that same value towards other human beings. And you have to take a look at, what are we setting up for our next generation? What are we leaving them? What do they have to look at? Because what they're looking at now is some straight bull, and it's not right. If you sit at home and you say things that are derogatory, you have children, what the hell you think they're gonna say when they go to school? I mean, I work in the education field. I teach. I hear it. Kids say to another kid, "You white boy," or "You black boy." I hear it. And I know for a fact where it came from. And you can tell the ignorance behind it because they don't know no better. But I've heard them say it with such conviction and such anger behind it. Whose anger can this little child be holding on to that hasn't experienced life already, but is spewing these things to another child, carrying on the ignorance which is in their home? You got to watch it. You say you want change, you say you want different, you want a movement. Well, you got to sit back and think about it. Am I part of the problem? Because if you're looking for a solution, you're best to make sure you check in with yourself first. Because as hard as this is, we can't really go into this off of emotions. You have to use your intelligence. We can't use emotion because emotion will screw you up every time if we haven't learned that by now. Not easy, hard, but yes. But like I always say, we are so much smarter than we are giving ourselves credit to be. We are our own worst enemies. And if you want to start pointing fingers somewhere, you better start looking at yourself first. And that's what I have to say for that there. But for people that are of different cultures and races, That should just cut the bullshit right there. We are on a whole nother plane right now. The world is not how it used to be. And who the hell wants it to be? If we want to create change, then think about it. What kind of change are you trying to create? Who are we? What do we want? And how are we going to get there? You can create change as far as more hatred. Or if you want change for the better, then you have to cut out the selfish bullshit and realize that you're going to have to let go of that anger and really create change. But holding on to the anger and the resentment, you're going to be screwed every time. So if you like seeing history repeat itself, then let's keep it up. Let's keep up what we're doing then, because that's what's going to happen. We must be considerate to everyone. Because people that have different cultures in them, that are white and black, or Asian and black, or a multitude of many, Jewish and other races mixed together, that is the reality. And there's nothing wrong with it. That's the whole thing. It's nothing wrong with being who you are. It's nothing wrong with being a skin color, because that's what it is, the color of your skin. We have different cultures. There's nothing wrong with that. Everyone's different, but we're all human beings. But there's this little ugly little monster in the corner somewhere. It's called control. And there's always someone somewhere that just wants to control something so bad that it festers into an awful type of virus to control people. What kind of inhumane shit is that? Control yourself. Who are you? And what do you want the world to be like? Because it's, from where I sit, the ones in control don't really have they don't really consider many feelings and values. They don't take those into consideration. It's about control. Then what the fuck are you trying to control, and for what? To see the world be in devastation, to see people be poor, in pain, murdered. That's what it's come down to. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me start to explain. It's free. And if you've ever thought that you can have your own podcast, then believe it. Anchor gave me a platform to express my voice. And you can listen to my show, The World We Live In by Brandy J. Singleton. With Anchor, you can even make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many, many more. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. So please, please understand, this could be you too. So please, download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. You have a voice too, and we want to hear. I've met some really good people in my lifetime that are of all races. I've met some good white people. I've met some good black people, some good Hispanic, Asian, Indian. It's whatever you can name it, you can call it, however it is. I've met really good people, human beings. And never once let the color of their skin make me think any different of them, because I chose to decide to judge them, I guess, because we say, who's to judge? Who's to judge? We must realize here, we're not ignorant, folks. We know what we're talking about when we say this. We know there's judging. The judging of, well, basically what the world does. And we do make judgments. We must take heed to when we say these things and how we use them and how we use them. It's not up to us to judge somebody and say who they are and if they're of value or less than. You know what I mean? But I guess personal, when we judge off of if somebody's a good person, if we want to be around them or allow them into our lives, we make choices and decisions, and I choose to use these things when it comes to how I view people, on how they treat others, how they treat themselves, how they carry themselves in the world. And if you're a good person, of course, the world is going to be full of people that aren't good. And there's going to be a lot of people that pretend to be good. That's just the world we live in. We're smart enough to know this. We've all dealt with it. Untrustworthy people that at one time in our lives we thought we could trust them, and later on we found out we couldn't. And then you take that and you decide who you want to allow into your life. That's how that works. But to not know someone and to take false information and to use to group individuals, it's ignorant and it's wrong. You remember that saying back in the day we all learned when we were kids? Cannot judge a book by its cover. Oh, how true that is. Let's take a minute and think about it. Think about a book, right? Because I've done it. And the cover didn't look that great to you. You're like, I don't want to read this. This looks stupid. It doesn't look interesting. I mean, if you look at it from a marketing stance, that's why when people in business, when they're marketing something, they have to appeal to the eye too, which is still a good thing. But it's really very, very true that a cover of something or what something looks like cannot tell you who they are, what they stand for, and that and then some. So that saying there, you cannot judge a book by its cover, is so true. Down to the fact that a book itself can't be really judged by the cover of the book. I have not read so many great books because of that, and then actually took that theory and put it into action and read a book that didn't look too appealing, and it was a great book. Apply that to how we treat one another. You can just sum somebody up. The race of somebody, the color of somebody's skin, you can't decide who they are by that. Everybody is an individual. You're going to find good people and bad people in every race because they're individuals. I have met some not so great people in all races, and they're just people, not defined by the color of their skin. So what does that tell you? There's no logic when it comes to racism and judging and treating somebody by the way they look or the color of their skin, and yet we still carry on this ignorant way of hate. Who wants to just be ignorant for free? Because if this is you, and this is how you see the world, then you're choosing to hold on and carry on with the ignorance. You can't expect great results, and yet you're not willing to change your ways. To find and to look for a better way and change, you must begin with yourself. You can't go in to this with your own ignorant values. Yes, I said it. And then expect the world to change if you're not willing to change yourself. Because we are not perfect. Not one of us. Excuse me. We're not. So let's not ever sit here and pretend to be, because you're not fooling anybody. You're just wasting a lot of freaking time. This is Brandy J, and thank you for joining me. Thank you all for tuning in with Brandy J. Singleton, The World We Live In. I really appreciate all that took the time to listen in and to give an ear to my voice. Don't be a stranger. Keep coming back and listening. You can find me on Google Cast, Spotify, iHeart, Spreaker, Radio Public, Castbox, YouTube. I'm there. Deezer. So many. I'm in places where I don't even know. So my point is, please keep tuning in. And even here, right on Anchor, be a voice. Even leave a message in my message box. I can play your message on the show, or I can answer a question. But feel free to reach out. You can find episodes every Monday, Tuesday, Friday, and Sunday at 4 p.m. So please, like I said, don't be a stranger. Follow, share, like, and subscribe. Once again, thank you so much, and you're very much appreciated. From me, Brandy J. Singleton, The World We Live In. Peace.